Horses play a large role in the daily and national life of the Mongols. It is traditionally said that a Mongol without a horse is like a bird without the wings. Elizabeth Kendall, who traveled through Mongolia in 1911, observed, "To appreciate the Mongol you must see him on horseback, and indeed you rarely see him otherwise, for he does not put foot to ground, if he can help it. The Mongol without his pony is only half a Mongol, but with his pony he is as good as two men. It is a fine sight to see him tearing over the plain, loose bridle, easy seat, much like the Western cowboy, but with less sprawl." Mongolia holds more than 3 million horses, an equine population which outnumbers the country's human population. The horses live outdoors all year at 38 circumflex degrees C in summer down to a circumflex 48 circumflex degrees C in winter, and search for food on their own. The mare's milk is processed into the national beverage airag, and some animals are slaughtered for meat. Other than that, they serve as riding animals, both for the daily work of the nomads and in horse racing. Mongol horses were a key factor during the 13th century conquest of the Mongol Empire. Of the 5 kinds of herd animals typically recognized in Mongolia, horses are seen to have the highest prestige. A nomad with many horses is considered wealthy. Mongol people individually have favorite horses. Each family member has his or her own horse, and some family members favor their preferred horses by letting them out of hard jobs. Horses are generally considered the province of men, although women also have extensive knowledge of horsemanship. Men do the herding, racing and make the tack. Traditionally, men also milk the mares. Compared to Western methods, Mongolians take a very hands-off approach to horse care. Horses are not bathed or fed special foods like grain or hay. Rather, they are simply allowed to graze freely on the steppe, digging through the snow to find forage in the winter. Because nature provides so well for the Mongol horse, they cost little to nothing to raise. As such, horses are not an expensive luxury item, as in Western culture, but a practical necessity of everyday life. Herdsmen regard their horses as both a form of wealth and a source of the daily necessities. Transportation, food and drink. Mongol riders have individual favorite horses. Each family member has his or her own horse, which may receive special treatment. In Mongolia, barns, pastures and stables are the exception, not the rule. Horses are generally allowed to roam free. If they are needed, they may be tied up temporarily. The hitching post used for this purpose differs from the usual Western conception of a bar placed across 2 posts. Such creations are wood-intensive, and on the steppe trees are rare. Instead, the horses may be tied to a single wooden pole or a large boulder. Because the horses are allowed to live much the same as wild horses, they require little in the way of hoof care. The hooves are left untrimmed and unshod, and farriers are basically non-existent. Despite the lack of attention, Mongol horses have hard, strong hooves and seldom experience foot problems. During the summer, Mongolian horses will often stand in river, if available, in order to keep insects off. Mongolians say that fat horses have grass in their belly, while lean horses have water in their belly. Herdsmen prefer to make long journeys during seasons, when horses are well fed so as to spare tired or thin animals from exertion. Particularly in the spring, horses are vulnerable to exhaustion. By the end of winter, the animals are a dreadful sight. The horses are too frail to be ridden, and some can barely walk when the new grass appears. However, native Mongolian breeds of animals tend to recover very quickly. Horses, along with sheep and goats, have a better chance of surviving difficult winter conditions than cattle and sheep, because they are able to separate snow from grass with their dexterous slips. When a zud hits, the typical pattern is for cattle to die first, then sheep, horses, and lastly goats. Thus, horses are the second most winter resilient animals raised by Mongolians.